Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Heart Community of Mindful Living here at the Dallas Meditation Center. And I'm really glad you could join us today. And good to see some of you already in the room on YouTube, and some of you already checked in the chat window. Please do check in the chat window if you would. It's nice to know there's others on the other side of the camera, and I'll read those a little bit later on after the meditation, whatever you've checked in with. And also, please do remember to like or thumb up the video. It helps others find the video. And again, thanks for joining us. And if you find this later, if you've done a YouTube search and you've come upon this video later, welcome to you as well. And I hope that you'll sit with the meditation as well. And it's an easy practice. So just enjoy the time. Don't set any expectations. Just allow yourself to be present with your breath and present right now. So what we will do tonight, we will have a little bit of an introduction, and then we will have a guided meditation. There'll be some walking and sitting, and then we will have a talk. And then following the talk, we go over to Zoom for interactive sharing and discussion and question and answer. And I do hope that if you're over on YouTube now and you're watching us live, that you will join us for that. I will put the link in the chat window a little bit later on so that you know where to come to on Zoom. But so for now, just find that comfortable position and sit back. And if you know it, you can join in with Lisa on the opening affirmation.
Noble community, we gather here now to honor the way of peace and nonviolence, the way of wisdom and compassion, the way of joy and beauty. In solidarity with one another, with all humanity, and with all life on earth. Friends on the path, we gather here now to deepen our solidity like a mountain and to renew our freshness like a flower. Through mindful sitting and walking, mindful singing and breathing, and mindful speaking and listening. Family of awakening, we gather here now to celebrate the one infinite light that shines through many religions and many cultures, to cultivate the wisdom of our many teachers, both ancestral and contemporary, and to confirm the capacity within ourselves and all persons of every race, gender, orientation, and tradition to realize full and complete enlightenment.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. So glad you could join us today. I hope you've had a good day. And I think I want to tell you that I don't know if you really notice things when you're looking at people sitting in a room, but I just want to tell you that I'm not always this untidy. We are purging. We are getting everything out of the attic and closets. And so right now it's that time when everything looks much, much worse than it is. So I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy that you are here. And I'm really looking forward to hearing Veronica's talk, and I hope you are too. So I'll see you later.
So now we will recite the contemplation before sitting. The Sangha is invited to go back to our breathing so that our collective energy of mindfulness brings us together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, generate peace as one body, be free as one body. Let us transcend the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating ourselves from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex. We are aware that the happiness and suffering of all people is also our own happiness and suffering. We see ourselves in all people and all people in ourselves. We are one with those caught in situations of oppression. We are also one with the oppressors. We are one with the wise and good people who are present everywhere in the world. We are one with those who are able to embrace the whole of this world with their heart of love and their two arms of caring action. We are a people with enough peace, joy, and freedom to be able to offer fearlessness and the joy of life to living beings around us. We see that we are not alone. The love and joy of great beings who are present in this world are supporting us, not allowing us to drown in despair, and showing us the way of understanding, compassion, and right action.
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, dear brothers and sisters, I hope that this is finding you with a big smile on your face. We get to enjoy a little bit of time for walking meditation today and sitting meditation. And it's just such a pleasure to be able to show up and have these practices. Also, you might be pleased to hear, or maybe not pleased to hear, but there's no pet here today. So we will not be enhancing our meditation with the sound of barking. So we can rest easy on that, or at least I can today. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of instruction for the walking meditation. Before I begin, I would like everybody to take a moment and get a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper. So just take a moment, mindfully moving to get your pencil and paper. Breathing, beginning to slow down now, just as we do the preparation. So you can set that aside for just a second. And as we do our walking meditation today, just want to invite you to feel your body as it moves step by step around your home or wherever you're at. And remembering that as we do walking meditation, it's not to get anywhere. It's really just to be present with your breath and your step. So you take a step and breathe in, take a step and breathe out. And I would encourage you, especially because we're all coming from home, to just resist that temptation that you might have to pick something up, to notice, oh, I need to throw this away, or I need to, oh, that needs dusting, or oh, I think I'll turn this light on or off. It just resist that and continue to stay in your body and feel embodied during this practice. It's a great practice actually to resist your mental categories of, oh, I need to make sure to put bird feeder in the bird house or whatever it is, So stay, to the best of your ability, stay embodied. And we will be walking for about 10 minutes, and Cornell will be playing some beautiful, soothing music. And when that music stops, then you'll know that you can come and take your seat. So what I want you to do with your paper and pencil, is I want you to take a moment now and just set an intention for this meditation. And what I mean by that, it can be something super sweet and small and subtle, like my intention for this meditation is to keep my shoulders down and relaxed. And so throughout the whole walking and sitting, I'm just going to make sure my shoulders are settled. Or this meditation, I'm going to commit to breathing into my belly as I walk. And I'm going to feel my belly expand and can subtly contract with each breath. Or you may have the intention to have your mantra, which sometimes we have the mantra, I have arrived, I am home. One step, I have arrived. The next step, I am home. Or you may choose to have a mantra of, may I be well, may I be at ease. Or may I and all people be well, and may I and all people be at ease. Something like this. Your intention can also be, I'm just going to have a gentle smile as I walk and sit today. That's my intention. Or you could have relaxing your forehead, or having, like I said, a sweet little smile on your face. So setting your attention. All right, I'm going to continue the instruction, but as we stand. So let's all come to a standing position. And as you stand, I just ask you to have your feet about hips width apart. And that's about, if you were to bend over and put your hands fist to fist together, it would be about that amount of space. But just really what feels comfortable for you, and have a little bend in your knees. And let your shoulders reach down, your crown of your head reach up. And let your chin tuck just slightly, as if in a little reverence bow to this moment. And just begin this practice by really feeling your feet on the ground. My left foot is actually a little bit asleep, so I'm really noticing that tingling right now. And I may have to stand for a minute before I begin to walk. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that. So just allowing your attention to feel your feet and begin your breath, always our anchor. Slowing down the breath. Letting your forehead smooth, letting a smile come on your lips. No place to be, nothing to do. Just coming into this moment, step by step. And we'll continue our meditation walking as Cornell begins the music. Dear friends, take your time being mindful as you come to your cushion or your chair, or if you're laying down, just taking a moment to settle in gently, quietly, with reverence to this moment, to our practice. And if you all would like to join me in a bow that we all do together in honor of the beautiful music that Cornell brings to our world, we bow. And then let's do another bow to each other, just thinking of us all in our places of homes and offices, and places where we're online, but we're all together. So putting your hands in prayer and bowing to each other, we bow. And now settling in and allowing your intention to follow through here now to the sitting meditation. So with each breath, remembering your intention as you allow your feet to be grounded, the lower part of your body making contact with the earth. Bringing your attention there now. Working from the ground up. Just noticing how your body is sitting. I notice that I'm leaning forward, and I realized I'm maybe leaning into the future. So I'm just going to settle back and be more present in the here and now. And I invite you to do the same with your shoulders over your hips. Letting things begin to really slow down now. And at the same time, just letting yourself be however you are in this moment. There's no right or wrong. Just allowing it to be what it is. For you to be as you are. And just breathing with that. Slowing the breath down if you can. Helps to slow the racing thoughts. So again, letting your shoulders reach down. Your body settle and get cozy. Letting your face muscles relax. Nothing to hang on to here, nothing to hold on to. Let your jaws relax, your brows smooth, your eyes soften, temples relax, back to the shoulders relax. And tune into your breath, remembering your intention. Let your hands rest softly in your lap. Nothing to grasp, nothing to hold on to, just being. With each breath. And when your mind begins to wander, you know, they say the mind stops wandering the minute you realize it's wandered. So when you see your mind wander, just put your arm around it And gently lead it back to your breath and to relaxing your body. Going through the checklist. Forehead, jaw, shoulders, stomach breath. Breathing in, breathing out your intention for this practice. Staying with your intention. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing your intention in, breathing your intention out. And now releasing your focus and just allowing yourself to breathe from head to toe, opening up, receiving, just having a receptive space now. Nothing to block, nothing to push down. Just receiving as we get to have the pleasure of listening to Bobby sing the Plum of the Heart.
May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. Brahma Vihara Maitri, Brahma Vihara Karuna, Brahma Vihara Mudita, Brahma Vihara Rupeksha. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace.
And now we'll recite the refuge chant to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha, that represent the qualities and nature within all of us. If you know the words, please join me. We take refuge in the Buddha, the awakening heart of infinite light, that which shows us the way in this life. We take refuge in the Dharma, the awakening path of infinite light, the way of understanding and of love. We take refuge in the Sangha, the awakening community of infinite light, those who live in harmony and awareness.
Thank you for that meditation, Jennifer, and thanks for leading us in the three jewels of our practice as well, Lisa. And so thank you again to all of you on YouTube who are checking in the check-in window, and you can continue to do that. I'm going to read some of those, and I'll give you a reminder. Please do press the thumb up or the like. I can tell how many of you have and haven't, so please do that. It does help us, others, to find these gatherings online if you do that. So Catherine bowing in, grateful to be here. Barbara bowing in, grateful for breath. Billy bowing in. Ruth, happy to be present with us today. So really happy to see you all as well. And you can continue checking in. I'll if we have time, I'll read a few of those a little bit later on. And I'll also remind up in the chat window right now, I've put up the link where you can share in Dana, and that's sharing in giving and receiving. And that's part of our practice to support those who give to us. And so we would invite you to support those who put on these meditation gatherings. And this group, the Dallas Meditation Center, is supported by the community, and the community is me, and the community is you, and all of those watching on YouTube. And so please do share in that so that these gatherings can continue. And then one day they'll also be in person as well. And so you can find that link in the chat window. It's also in the description of the video if you're watching later. And that's Dallas Meditation Center/give, dallasmeditationcenter.com/give. And you can also do it by phone by texting the word mindful to the number 44321. And one more reminder, a little bit later on after the talk, we will invite people to come over to Zoom for sharing and discussion and question and answer. And I hope that you'll join us. And here in a bit, I'll put that link up in the chat window as well. So now I'd like to ask Bobby if she will invite our speaker.
Yes, I would be delighted to introduce you to Veronica. I think many of you know her. Veronica has been with us before. She's a very dynamic speaker. If I tried to enumerate all of the things that she does and her abilities, I think I would take up her talk time. So I just want you to know Veronica is one of the things that I really love that she does. She teaches mindfulness in elementary school. And that's a very, I think, very important service. That is her service as a minister. That's her calling, so to speak. And she's also very, very talented as an artist, takes beautiful photographs. So, yeah, there's a lot we could say, but I'm anxious to hear her talk and not necessarily my talk. So please welcome Veronica with me.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. And it's so good to be here at Dallas Meditation Center. Thank you for your commitment to meeting every Sunday online. So the title of my talk, Finding Refuge in the Voice of a Wildflower, comes from a Thich Nhat Hanh quote that I came across. And the quote is, "The entire cosmos can sing to us with the voice of a wildflower." So take a breath and put your hand on your heart, and let's just take that in together and see what resonates for you. And I'm going to relate it in regard to my experience with the pandemic. But let me say that one more time. The entire cosmos can sing to us with the voice of a wildflower. When I read that, it literally penetrated my heart because it's been the experience that has taken me deeper into life because of the pandemic. You know, I wrote on my description of this conversation that we're having, or really it's a talk, me, myself, and I'm looking at myself, but I'm so grateful I can feel you. I wrote, amid a pandemic that has forced many of us into isolation, depriving our need for connection, how do we realize we are not alone? And I intentionally use the word forced and depriving, because those are very human experiences of the energy and the conditions that we felt last March. And it's not about oppression or somebody trying to take our freedom or conspiracy. No, something bigger called us. But my ego first felt like something was being forced upon me when I had a shelter in place, and it deprived me of connection. And what it was an invitation to pause. And what these last 14 months have brought me was really deeply into the heart of the moment, to the heart of being. So how do I take refuge in the voice of a wildflower as we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, in the oneness that is life? Because for me, as you can see, this is my little, I call it my treehouse casita. I live by White Rock Lake, and it's about a 650 square foot apartment. And literally in the shelter in place, I would only go see my parents because they're elderly, just to check in on them. But all of a sudden, my whole life went from teaching in schools and being surrounded in the energy of 600 students, and I love elementary kids, you know, and the staff, to me, myself, and I. And so that feeling of aloneness started really creeping in, even though all of a sudden we started getting really creative with Zoom. And I'll never forget the first time that Cornell and Jody Roberts and I got together on Zoom. It was like, oh, it's not the same, but it was close enough. But the intense loneliness that I experienced shifted me after a certain point, because I began to go deeper into the moment. But I had to allow myself to feel that aloneness, to feel the loneliness, to feel like I was isolated. And what really was happening, I had nowhere to go and I had nowhere to hide. And so all I could do was meet my mind. And in meeting my mind, I also had to meet my feelings. And in meeting my feelings, I really got deeper to what was beneath it. I took a lot of classes during those time. I was teaching online, then I had the summer, I was working online. But I took a Natalie Goldberg haiku class at the Upaya Zen Center with Roshi Joan Halifax, Clark Strand, and Kaz Tanashi. And I also took a writing class with Natalie Goldberg. And if you don't know Natalie Goldberg, she's the author of Writing Down the Bones and 13 books total. But what I love about Natalie, she's really all about the mind. She comes from the Zen tradition. And she's like, you're never alone. You have the trees, you have the skies, you have the bird. And I really started walking with that because I felt the intensity of being alone, yet I have these trees right outside my window. I walk daily, by the lake with the hawks and the egrets and the pelicans. I'm one who will stop and wonder in awe to the glory of the wildflowers. And so what I found throughout the last 14 months was that, intricate dance of the loneliness and what I called isolation into a shift of perception to gratitude for solitude. Now, my little emerald green couch over here, I spent countless hours literally staring out that window. Because after a while, after binging on Netflix, I love the show Merlin and watching, Queer Eye, so many episodes, I was like, I noticed I was trying to fill the void. I was reading, I was taking classes, and I just got to the point where I just wanted to be present. I also did a lot of prayer there because that's my altar. So in the morning, after I do my morning writing, I move into prayer. But there was a lot of space that I noticed that I was trying to fill. And I noticed the discomfort and no place to go. And it's a small space, but I also started shifting into gratitude for having a space. And so I started meeting my mind in different ways, the moments where I was wrestling with my mind. And then the realization that I'm alone, but I'm not alone, that we're interconnected. And in the depth of the silence sitting there, literally, I didn't want to read. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to watch another master class. I didn't want to get on Facebook. I just sat to be. And you can see out the window, when I'm looking out the window, there's this verdant view. It's green in the spring and in the summer, and in the winter, everything drops and there's just like this clarity. And you can see the birds going back and forth. And so what I noticed in meeting my mind in every moment, what was there? What was percolating? What patterns were taunting me? And how was I missing the voice of the wildflower? How was I missing the gratitude of the moment? And it was a dance where I wasn't judging myself either, but being present. So I started shifting between, all right, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have a safe space. I'm grateful that I was funded, that I could still teach and support teachers and children with mindfulness in my family. And so I started noticing where at a certain point, when this intense grief that was present with me kept like taunting me and haunting me, there was one friend, it seemed like our phone calls were going from connecting to spiraling into victimhood. And I started noticing my mind. I'm like, I don't want to go there. What do I need? What do I need? Well, I valued love and I valued connection, and that grief was like purely present with me. And I would go make my espresso in the morning, and all of a sudden I might wake up in gratitude, and this grief would like literally roll over me and wash over me. And I would weep literally while the coffee was making, and then it poured forth like a rainstorm and was gone. And so what I noticed, the dance of meeting my mind and accepting my mind and understanding that, wait a minute, I'm actually not alone, but I'm being afforded some solitude for a reason, to clear whatever patterns in my mind, to embrace whatever human emotions I'm having, to notice when the ego was kicking in out of fear and uncertainty, And then meeting my mind in every moment, because I'm a mindfulness teacher. So I'm fully present to what's happening in this wrestling and like Cirque du Soleil. And I could have sold tickets. It would have been a great show, this, going back and forth, with story. And then having some deep compassion for myself. And then to have the deep compassion for the experiences that other people were in, like my niece and my cousin, their loss of their jobs, the loss of their salaries, people struggling. And so it was an intricate dance between what I was feeling and experiencing in the personal to see what was happening in the world. And then all of a sudden, I would have these, as my friend Sarah Sampson calls, these sneaky moments of reverence, where the sun would come in and there would be this beautiful ray of light that would just suddenly touch my heart. And it would just open me up to like compassion for myself. And then I would get online and I would scan and have compassion for other people. And then I began to notice in my walks, just like where my mind had been ruminating and rattling over this grief, this circumstance that was just haunting me, where I was like, Veronica, just be present. And then all of a sudden I would notice the egret that was flying above, or the blue heron that was sitting right there by the lake so I could take a picture. And in that moment, though, I was having this nonverbal exchange with the wildlife and with the trees. And as the trees were asleep and then awakening again, that I could hear the entire cosmos in all of their voices. And that's when I really began to feel that deeper intimacy with life, because I'm pretty intimate with life. I've got, like a friend of mine said, this holy perception. I tend to the sacred. But what I noticed with the pandemic and the shift and the unraveling of the life that we had, but also shining a light on what needed to shift and what needed to change and what I was trying to accept and what I was allowing, that these moments of intimacy just in nature became my healing elixir. It became a place of renewing and recharging my mind. It became a place where I could, anchor and center. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. My days are 85 to 90% joyful because I experienced a 10-year illness. I almost died at 30. But I had to allow myself those difficult emotions of what I was experiencing with the pandemic. And then, of course, we had, all the things that happened with George Floyd and then the marches and all this collective shift was happening. But we were invited into the pause, and we were invited to see with eyes to see that we truly are interconnected. And we were being invited to this reverence for life with each other. See, it's easy to love a wildflower because it's not going to talk back to you, but it's all of a sudden, it's like, if I can hear the cosmos in a wildflower, can I accept the cosmos in the smile of a stranger? And maybe somebody I don't agree with, but I really love. And so what happened was that I began to find myself healing through the intimate walks with nature. And then I began to find myself healing through poetry. Through the classes of Natalie Goldberg with the haiku and then her writing class. And then I found a book that I'm going to share a poem with. I began to bring myself really into the acceptance of my mind and the acceptance of the moment, and to allow, when the loneliness was there, to not be judgmental, but then to shift my eyes to see that I'm interconnected and that there are people that I love, and that if I'm connecting in Zoom, this is the way that we get to connect and be intimate. And I began to deepen myself in those sneaky moments of what I call reverence. And I began to shift in a way that brought me just in such gratitude just for the moment. That's all I have, is this holy sacred now. And so when I found refuge in the poetry, and I found refuge with nature at White Rock Lake, and I could hear the voice of the cosmos, the entire cosmos, in the voice of a wildflower, I began to deepen that we are all interconnected. We are all home with each other. Thich Nhat Hanh says we are all leaves of one tree and we're all the waves of one sea. And so the journey brought me to this moment of just reconciling that if I'm having these feelings and these difficult emotions and this sense of isolation, then other people are having this. And then how can I bring forth those sneaky moments of reverence? How can I bring forth beauty to remind ourselves that in the depth of sorrow and sadness and uncertainty and loss, that there is still so much beauty and grace and gratitude in the moment? It is that dance of what I call heaven and earth, or heaven as earth, where I'm allowed to have my feelings and my emotions. I'm allowed to bear witness to my thoughts, but yet at the same time, I can shift my perspective. That no, nothing was forced upon me. I was invited into a pause. No, I don't need to complain what need is not being met, but let me count my blessings. And then let me share with other. Let me bring the potency of the present moment so that we can all shift, and so that we can hear the cosmos and the wildflower, and we can hear the song of each other, and that we can bear witness to the suffering, but we can find shelter within each other. Whether we have online community, our family, our neighborhoods, that we can be present into this moment, be present to grief, be present to uncertainty, be present to sadness, be present to anger, and yet at the same time, move into my heart, get those sneaky moments where something catches my eye, shifts my attention, a ladybug lands on me, I hear the laughter of a child, and it brings me present to the grace of the moment. So I want to read you this one poem. I have to shift my eyeglasses, because it was just so powerful for me to not only find the haiku, and I love Natalie Goldberg and haiku, and I'll do a whole nother talk when Dallas Meditation Center is ready for me to do a talk on haiku, because it was powerful. But I want to read from this book, and I'll post a picture of it. It's called Poetry of Presence, an anthology of mindfulness poems. It is Phyllis Cole Dye and Ruby R. Wilson were the editors. I'm going to read the back, and I'm going to read one of the poems. Some poems are good medicine, and some good medicine poems are mindfulness poems. Mindfulness poems invite us to bring our whole self to whatever moment we're in and truly live it. They encourage us to be more present, more attentive, and compassionate in the living of our days. And they grant us a taste of being good enough, just as we are in this world, just as it is. And I just thought, like, just the back part encapsulated everything that I've experienced these last 14 months. So this is a poem on page 165 from, her name is Barbara Crooker. The poem is entitled, Sometimes I'm Startled Out of Myself. It's also the first line. And so just listen, take a moment and breathe, and just allow your heart to receive this, and the ears that are just, bringing in with the resonance of what she is sharing with us. Sometimes I'm startled out of myself, like this morning when the wild geese came squawking, flapping their rusty hinges, and something about their trek across the sky made me think about my life, the places of brokenness, the places of sorrow, the places where grief has strung me out to dry. And then the geese come calling, the leader falling back when tired, another taking her place. Hope is born on wings. Look at the trees. They turn to gold for a brief while, and they lose it all each November. And through the cold months, they stand, take the worst weather has to offer, and still they put out shy green leaves come April, come May. The geese glide over the cornfields, land on the pond with its sedges and reeds. You don't have to be wise. Even a goose knows how to find shelter where the corn still lies in the stubble and dried stalks. All we do is pass through here the best we can. They stitch up the sky, and it is whole again. And I just love that one poem brings it all together for me, to allow to feel the brokenness, the grief, to be present to the beauty that is being mirrored to us, to find shelter in the moment, in the voice of the wildflower, in the geese that are flying, in each other in the moment, bearing witness to whatever emotions are arising. And then to realize that we can find shelter together, no matter what the circumstances are. That in our practice, we acknowledge our human experience, and yet we know that Buddha nature, that Buddha mind, that universal mind, whatever you want to call it, but what I call love made manifest as us, that's just being called forth. So allow yourself just to bear witness to what you've experienced these last 14 months. Just notice what's come up. The creative ways our mind makes up stories, but also the place where we want to accept our mind and accept the moment. And I invite you to see with the eyes that see that all of life is the way that this oneness, gets to experience it itself, the cloud in the cup of coffee, the geese that are reminding me that they know how to find shelter. I can find shelter in this moment through my practice, through my connections in whatever way, through loving myself, through allowing myself to have these difficult moments, and yet at the same time, turning to that awareness that if I can hear the entire cosmos in the voice of a wildflower, then that is living and breathing within me. And I can turn to that for refuge, to the truth of my beingness, to the compassion that is seeking to arise, to the love that is wanting to lead in this moment. So for myself, it's been a deep journey of awakening and clearing and laughing and crying and loving and being. And as I was sharing with Cornell, renegotiating, how do I enter this world? How do we enter back in life? And how do we be kind? How do we be kind through all of this? Kind to ourselves and kind to each other. So I invite you into ceremony with the wildflowers. I invite you to greet the sunset in its marmalade hues. I invite you to call forth the wildflowers to sing to you and attune to the laughter of children. I invite you to be present to the heartache and the sorrows, to know that that's part of our whole beingness on this planet, is to awaken to love ourselves and to love one another. And I invite you to find gratitude, which will make you lighter and brighter. And I invite you into nature, and I really invite you into poetry. That may we write all these new verses together in a way where we are awakened and we are aware and we are fully alive, and that you may have these sneaky moments of reverence, and that you may have compassion for yourself. And you may begin to understand that we were invited into a collective pause, and that we don't go backwards. We're being called into something deeper, truer, pure. But like Thich Nhat Hanh says, the entire cosmos can sing to us with the voice of a wildflower. Are you willing to listen? And are you willing to receive that song? So I thank you. I bless you. It was an honor and privilege to be here.
Thank you so much, Veronica. Wow. You know, that's just a lot to think about. So I'm really interested to see what people want to share. And so I hope all of you that are here will come over to Zoom and share with us how there's bound to be something in Veronica's talk that really struck you. I resonate with all of it, actually. But some things really kind of touched my heart and made me remember some of the experiences that I had during this time of lockdown, this time of isolation. Yeah, so anyway, thank you so much, Veronica. And I look forward to seeing all of you on Zoom so that we can talk together and share and see one another. Thank you.
So you'll see in the chat window that I have put the Zoom link up. So I do hope that you'll join us over on Zoom. And it's great when we have a chance to share together and talk and discuss and ask questions. And so so we will close with, Lisa will lead us in the 4 vows of awakening beings. And then after that, come over to Zoom. If you're still on YouTube, if you're already on Zoom, stay there. And so let's have the 4 vows of awakening beings with Lisa.
Countless beings we vow to free, ceaseless afflictions we vow to end, limitless truth doors we vow to open, the deepest paths of awakening we vow to realize.
So now we'll say goodbye to those of you on YouTube, but we'll see you in a moment when you join us over on Zoom. So see you in a moment.